This is the 2024 KTM 125 Duke. Now it's seen some pretty big updates for this year, so we're going to run through them all, but let's start with the styling. So it's picked up some very aggressive styling, much like its big brother, the KTM 390 Duke, with these sharp lines, and they described it as shark-like. I don't quite see it, but it is aggressive. This one comes in orange, and there's another colorway which is Atlantic blue. The Atlantic blue is nice, but it has orange wheels, and I'm not really a big fan of that. It costs £4,899 on the road, including all admission fees and everything like that. This and the Yamaha MT125 are pretty much the undisputed kings of the 125 segment, and there is a reason for that. They boast strong performance, strong looks, and overall they're very popular amongst the younger crowd. The engine has been fully revised for this year. It's the latest LC4C 125cc engine. It's a single cylinder, 4-stroke, single overhead cam for this year, which is a difference where they've managed to shave some weight off. And they've also optimized the piston heads and the gearbox for smoother and more effective power delivery. And it does work really well on the road. Now, much like any 125, you really have to kind of wind it up to get it going, but once it is going, it feels fantastic. And it does have some top end pull, which is quite nice. You know, if you're sitting in six at sort of 50 miles per hour, it still has some go. As for top speed, I sort of have just about seen the 70 mile per hour mark downhill with a good bit of wind behind me, but as you can tell, it's really windy. In the past few days we've had it out and about, I've just been fighting against the weather, but I'm sure this one will see sort of 68, 69 with no problem. So for braking, we've got 320mm single disc on the front with a 4-piston bi-brake caliper, and on the rear we've got a 240mm single disc with a 2-piston bi-brake caliper. It's got dual channel Bosch ABS, and it's also got Supermoto ABS, which is an interesting one, which basically allows you to switch off the rear ABS to get some sliding action in there, which should bring out the hooligan in you. The suspension's been updated for this year with WP43 forks on the front. Those are non-adjustable, and we've got a WP Apex monoshock on the rear, which is preload adjustable, which does give you some flexibility. The upgraded suspension does really nicely on the road. Lumps and bumps get soaked up really well, and in the corners you don't start to lose the front end. It just is really smooth around there. They've also increased the wheelbase for more stability in the corners, and you can really feel it. So it weighs in at 154 kilograms wet this year. That is thanks to the revised engine being more compact and lightweight. And whilst it's been windy, I haven't felt like I've been blown around everywhere. It does feel really stable even with that light weight. It's got a new 2-piece frame on it this year, which is identical to the one found on the 390 Duke, which has allowed them to reduce the seat height down to 800mm. There is an optional extra which can boost it up to 820mm, but you probably will have to pay for that. But it will mean for those taller riders, you don't feel as compact. With the foot pegs being positioned more aggressively in line with the Duke's aggressive styling, you do feel a little bit compact, but I stand at about 6 foot, and I think anyone below that height will be getting along with it perfectly fine. But much like any bike, I think you've got to sit on it before you buy it. Also shared with the 390 Duke, we've got the 5-inch TFT display. It's got smartphone connectivity, lap timers, and all that kind of fun KTM stuff, but it is a nice clean dash. One complaint I will make about it is the kind of focus on it being track oriented. I think having the lap timers and stuff on there as standard is a little bit hit or miss. I don't think anyone's really doing lap timers around town on a 125, but everyone's got their own personal taste. So it's got 17-inch wheels front and rear, and we're running Michelin Road 5s, which are pretty optimal for the UK roads. In the wet, I haven't felt like I'm losing any grip, and in the dry as well, they do perform really well. You can get a strong lean angle on this bike, which is surprising even though it has little narrow wheels, but it does a great job, and I really rate the Michelin Road 5s. Now, as you can tell, there's some optional extras on this. We've got a rimless exhaust, which does sound quite nice, but much like all 125s, you kind of are just picking the sound it makes. It doesn't sound fantastic, but it also probably sounds better than the stock one. That costs you around £600. We've also got these bar end mirrors, which I really like. They are a nice touch compared to the sort of dummy overhanging ones. These cost £180, which are quite dear, and this one also has the Quick Shifter Plus. Now that's £225, but it does feel like you're getting the most out of the bike, especially with that new engine. So the engine is the updated LC4C 124.9cc 4-stroke single cylinder, and it cranks out about 14.7 horsepower, so right on the CBT limit, and 11.5 newton meters of torque. Much like any 125, low down you really need to wind it up to get it going, but once you are going, it does feel really smooth, and it does feel like there is power there, especially when you compare it to other 125s, say like the CB125F or something like that, sitting around 12 horsepower. Sounds silly, but you can feel the extra 2.7 horsepower. Thank you for watching my review on the 125 Duke from KTM. Be sure to like the video and let us know what you think in the comments, and check out my full blog on the Caranash website.